All right, hi everybody. I'm Bob Pastorella. I am the co-host of the popular horror podcast called This Is Horror. I'm also the co-author of They're Watching with Michael David Wilson, who is the co-host of This Is Horror. And I'm reading to you today from my debut solo novel, The Small Hours, and it is a vampire story set in Southeast Texas. And so here we go. Jay was sure he saw Lucindy's t-shirt in Mr. Fields' backyard shed. What's she wearing now? That made sense because she couldn't be dead, right? Your friends don't get killed by serial killers. That's something that happened to other people. But there was a funeral not even 2 weeks ago. Closed casket. That never really seals the deal. What's the word? Closure? The word felt too final. A word Jay refused to let his mind wrap around. It didn't make sense. Why would her shirt be in Mr. Fields' shed? And it was just a glimpse, a fleeting image at the corner of his eye, but enough for Jay to make the connection. It was a small hole in the sleeve, a black Lacuna Coil t-shirt faded gray from repeated washing, a ragged hole in the sleeve from a cigarette burn. He'd know that shirt anywhere because it was his cigarette that caused the burn. And now it was tossed aside like Lucindy's life. Sitting in the workbench of a shed of a strange man Jay already had bad feelings about. Mr. Fields with his weird accent. Mr. Fields always going out of town. Mr. Fields invited people over to his house. Jay couldn't watch his neighbor's house all the time, but he watched enough to know more people entered than left. Mr. Fields was Russian mafia. It made sense. He was a hitman. He probably got off on the killing. Fields probably wasn't even his real name. A Russian mafia serial killer. The truth couldn't have been simpler. Jay needed evidence. You can't go around accusing people with weird accents and strange habits of being in the Russian mafia. Especially a man with a blue Lives Matter sticker in the center of his rear windshield. Fields probably donated money to the sheriff's department. Between jobs and semesters, Jay spent his weekdays landscaping the neighborhood. Except for Mrs. Teller's house. She paid more for professional lawn services. She never liked Jay much anyway, and she really didn't like Willie. Mrs. Teller was a racist old bitch who ate TV dinners and drank wine until she passed out every night. Most people paid Jay $30 to $40 cash to cut and trim. Mr. Fields always paid more, a crisp $50 bill once a week. He folded the bill lengthwise like he was tipping a stripper and kept it in the front inside pocket of his jacket. Fields wore a suit and tie every day. Nice cufflinks to attract roaming eyes away from the tattoos on the back of his hand and fingers. Though maybe Fields thought he was enhancing the tattoos. Another sign pointing to the Russian mob. It was December, 2 weeks before Christmas, and the grass was dying and already dead. Most of the people in the neighborhood had been turning Jay away for a couple weeks. Mr. Fields was the only one who wanted his grass cut before Christmas. So Jay cut the grass. He used a weed whacker to trim around the edges and where the row of shrubs stood out from Fields' front porch. Trimmed the backyard along the fence and around the patio. The trimmer line broke, needed some more line. While untangling a line inside the trimmer head, he realized that there wasn't enough to finish the job, so he went into the shed for a refill. That was when he saw Lucindy's shirt. The front of the shed was where Field kept his tools, mostly old brooms and rakes, a shovel that had seen better days, a workbench littered with rusted pliers and screwdrivers, snips of wire and screws on the worn counter. An old vise without a crank handle set at the end, its jaws rusted shut. And among the clipping of wires and screws, the faded black t-shirt was rolled into a loose ball, the right sleeve hanging off the edge of the bench with Jay's cigarette burn prominently on display. Beyond the workbench was a large, heavy canvas tarp, hung over a thick cord that separated the front of the shed from the rear. The tarp was pushed aside like a curtain, and for the first time, Jay could see what lay at the rear of the shed. The walls were bare, and a cardboard box filled with cans of spray paint set in the front door with several locks on it. The door looked like it could withstand a tornado, probably made of solid steel. What was Fields hiding behind that door? Drugs? Money? Jay imagined garbage bags bulging with cash, or shrink-wrapped cardboard boxes packed with strapped bills. That's how they did it, or at least how they did it according to the Gospel of Ozark. It was easy to picture Fields laundering money, quiet little Grigsby, Texas, local 5-0 on the take, yearly contributions to the election fund of whoever's buying. Happens every single day. A hand shot over Jay's shoulder and gripped the side of the tarp, pulling it shut. Jay jumped, surprised to find Fields standing behind him. Fields held the roll of trimmer line in his hand. Looking for this? Yeah, I'm almost done. I'm going out of town for the holidays, but I'll be hosting a small party after Christmas. The grass is dead. See how the weeds travel on the drive? Jay nodded. I could see him. Make them go away. You want me to spray some weed killer? Then I wouldn't need your services so often. I know things are rough for you, for everyone. You should be in school at a real job with insurance and good pay. The winter will be mild and grass will return, as all dead things do in one way or another. Am I right? Right. And then it's settled. When you finish, I have a treat for you. A treat? Jay nodded and went back to work. When he was done, he headed to the backyard to put up the trimmer. Fields was sitting on one of the reclining loungers on the patio drinking a beer. He had taken off his jacket, loosened his tie, and rolled up his sleeves. Jay shut the door to the shed, snapped the padlock, wiped his hands on his pants. He'd worked up a sweat despite the nip in the air. He was nervous and wanted to get the hell out of there. Fields motioned for Jay to come join him on the patio. Are you 21 yet? Not till March, Jay said, trying to keep the conversation to a minimum. So close. Well, today, since it's nearly Christmas, we'll say it's your birthday. He handed Jay a bottle from the table next to the lounger. Jay accepted the bottle. It wasn't like he turned the man down. He had to act like it was all business as usual. Beer was Dos Equis, brown label, not as crisp as the green, but still mighty fine after a day of yard work. It's good, huh? Yes. Was this a treat Fields mentioned? Seeing him sitting there with his tattoos on his forearms and peeking out from under his shirt collar. Jay wondered exactly what treats Fields had in mind. He looked like Jack Nicholson from that bloody backroom scene in The Departed. Do you like seafood? Jay nodded. Yeah, it'll be crawfish season soon. Oh, yes. Do you like oysters? I've had them fried. On the half shell? Jay shook his head and sipped his beer. Can't say that I have. Come inside, I have a treat for you. Jay finished off his beer, maybe a little too quickly, then tried to hand the empty bottle back to Fields. I really should head on out. Got some things to take. Fields took the bottle and handed Jay another, cutting him off. Come on now. It's Christmas break. An appetizer. Certainly nothing that would spoil your dinner. Jay didn't see how he had much of a choice. He was scared. Of what? He didn't know. That's Lucy's shirt in his shed. You know it is. But what if it wasn't? What if he was seeing things? Maybe it's just a balled up old rag that looked like her shirt. And even if it was her shirt, what about it? The police wouldn't be able to do anything without probable cause. He needed something else, something tangible, something damning. Maybe there was something inside the house, something else that could link Fields to Lucindy. Jay followed Fields inside, sipping his beer, acting like he didn't have a care in the world. He closed the back door behind him and slid in front of Jay. The kitchen had one of those island things with a double sink and a range in the center, a large granite countertop for the workspace. There were several folded towels on the countertop, with one large towel covering something lumpy. Fields walked over to the refrigerator and started grabbing things from the inside of the door. He set bottles of cocktail sauce and horseradish on the counter next to Tabasco and Frank's. I don't like any sauce other than Frank's, but if you don't like it, I have other brands. Frank's is good. Yeah, it's the best. Fields lifted the large towel, revealing a platter of oysters on ice. There were probably 24 of them. He picked one up. The curious animals here. They have a secret I'll tell you about after you try one. He placed the oyster on a towel and grabbed the knife from the block on the counter. The knife's handle was thick and round while the blade was short. Both edges looked razor sharp. Was Fields about to slit his throat? Is that what this towels were for? Fields placed the tip of the blade between the halves of the oyster and gently twisted his wrist, popping it open. He then slid the blade in, passing it quickly side to side. The oyster shell split, revealing the soft meat inside. A quick cut of the blade underneath and the meat released from the shell. Fields quickly grabbed another oyster and shucked it the same way. He passed Jay one of the half shells. Pour a little Frank's on it, or cocktail sauce, horseradish if you really want to spice it up. Jay dabbled a couple drops of Frank's on the oyster. Fields applied a large dollop of the same. Tip the shell into your mouth. Don't think about it, just swallow. Anything to get the hell out of Fields' house. Jay tipped the shell into his mouth, feeling the cold meat, almost liquid in consistency, hit his tongue. It was strange drinking something raw, the bright taste of iron coating his mouth. Then the Frank sauce hit, and he swallowed. The flavor, initially squishy, was damn good. Well, Jay smiled. That was great. See, I knew you'd like them. Good treat then. Yes, sir. Jay watched Field open a couple more oysters and tried it again, this time with a little dab of cocktail sauce. Fields inspected a couple of the oysters, then placed them back on the ice. He finally settled on one and showed it to Jay. See how the shell is slightly open? Jay nodded. Fields tapped the top of the shell with a knife handle. The shell quickly shut. Does that mean it's a bad one? No, if there's a strong odor like sulfur, then you cannot eat it. You throw them away? Usually. Sometimes you could cook them with batter, but I'd rather not take the chance. See, when they have the odor, that means they're dead. Jay smiled. Well, these are all dead. Phil started laughing. If these do not have the odor, then they are not dead. That can only mean that they are alive. That is the secret of the oyster. They are best when alive. Of course, they die quickly once you eat them. But to eat something alive, to hold that power over them, it's invigorating. And I have a picture of the cover, because like an idiot I didn't bring the actual book. But this is what it looks like.
What's it called again?
The Small Hours.
That was good.
Well, thank you. Thank you. All right.